So The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is the latest film within the Conjuring universe, now making it 8 films. A lot of people don't think there are 8 films because they don't remember the Curse of La Llorona. But at the same time, it's the latest film within the Conjuring universe that was released in theaters and on HBO Max just last week. I was lucky enough to attend an early screening, and I'll provide my thoughts in the video later on when I do my ranking. But at the same time, guys, we are here now to rank all 8 Conjuring Universe films from the worst to the best. This will include The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the 3 Annabelle films, which is Annabelle, Annabelle Creation, Annabelle Comes Home, The Curse of La Llorona, and The Nun. But before I give you my ranking, please comment down below and let me know what your ranking of all the Conjuring films are. Which ones do you love? Which ones do you hate? Do you just enjoy all of them, or have you never really been a fan? Please comment down below, let me know. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. But of course, to start off this list, we have to start off at number 8. Coming in at number 8 is going to be the original Annabelle film released in 2014. Annabelle was a demonic conduit that a lot of people really loved when they saw the original Conjuring film, especially with that incredibly tense scene within the Warren family home. So it made sense that only 1 year later we had a feature film that was a prequel to The Conjuring featuring the Annabelle doll. But with this said, it didn't really go well. From the director of The Butterfly Effect to Mortal Kombat Annihilation and Wish Upon comes Annabelle, John R. Leonetti, who was actually a part of the first Conjuring film as a director of photography, I think it is. But at the same time, there are so many issues within the first Annabelle film, from the lackluster scares to absolutely no tension and atmosphere to very, very poor acting from everyone who seems like they belong in a porno with not even the acting ability of porn stars. It feels incredibly cheap, it looks incredibly lame, it is not scary in the slightest, and a lot of people say there is at least one scene in that movie that is scary, being the basement sequence, and even then I was just like, what the fuck am I even watching? This isn't even scary. It just more or less comes off obnoxious, lazy, and just tedious. Coming in at number 7 is going to be The Nun. The Nun was a movie that when I first saw it back in 2018, well, I was very excited for it, but when we only ever got a teaser trailer, that's where the worries really started to come into play. Featuring Demi Moore and also Vera Farmiga's sister, this should have been a fucking slam dunk. This should have been a home run. Demi Moore is a really great actor, and I think it was a really smart choice on the casting department's part to actually get, you know, the younger sister of Vera Farmiga who plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring films. I thought that was a really smart idea, and this was so fucking anticipated on my part. I was really looking forward to this film for the reason that Valak the Nun was easily the scariest part of The Conjuring 2. That shit scared the crap out of me, so seeing that we were getting a feature film, I was so ready to be terrified. But in the end, what we got was a very boring, very dull, very dark movie that you couldn't see a damn thing half the time, and it almost came off like a haunted house. Except with the castle walking around, all these scares happening that aren't even really scary, just simple jump scares with no atmosphere, and the entire time it felt like the Nun, aka Valak, was kind of just trolling them by having Demi and Moore get buried alive, but giving him the bell and everything to have him then get released and everything. There was really only one scene in this movie that I found incredibly effective, and that is the chapel scene, which literally is like a masterpiece in regards to horror direction. I feel if the rest of the movie was like that, we could have had a great horror movie, but it resorted to really lackluster visual effects in regards to the look of Valak for once. It really wasn't scary in the slightest. While it had moments of atmosphere, it had too much of a payoff with really lame jump scares to get a very lame, very cheap form of thrill. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the newly released The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This is a film that started off so fucking strong within the first 30 minutes. This easily has the best opening scene out of all 8 of these movies. It is tense, it is scary, it is atmospheric, it is really hard to watch at times due to the body contortion stuff. But it then resorts to this movie that has really lame attempts at cringy humor, while also having a mystery aspect to it, a police investigation side of things with Ed and Lorraine Warren, where it ruins a lot of the rules that were set up in the first 2 Conjuring films in regards to Lorraine's abilities to be able to see things that ordinary people can't see. And it just doesn't really make sense. But at the same time, it has those moments where I'm like, this could be great. From director Michael Chaves, who also did The Curse of La Llorona, I see so much potential in him as a filmmaker. He has brilliant direction in this movie. Unfortunately, the writing in this movie, as I said, resorts to lame attempts at cringeworthy humor, while also trying to build up suspense to then have really lame jump scares once again for a very cheap payoff, with an investigation side of things that wasn't really all that interesting, with characters you don't even fucking remember. This is a movie I found overall incredibly disappointing. I found it had a very strong start to then have no scares to follow on. There are some great ideas in this movie, but in the end, it resorted to a very lame, very cheap, very boring, more or less paranormal investigation movie rather than a Conjuring film. That's just how I personally felt. I also still feel the title is stupid. I understand why that's the title, but at the same time, just have it to be The Conjuring 3, not The Devil Made Me Do It. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Annabelle Comes Home. This is a movie that I was really excited for. The trailers were tense, the trailers were visually absolutely brilliant. But in the end, what we got was a movie that, while it wasn't really all too bad, I thought it was very mediocre. I didn't think it was particularly memorable. I thought the acting was fine, especially from the young actress who plays, what's her fucking name? Judy Warren, the daughter of the Warrens themselves. I thought that was really good. I also think that the babysitter actors are really, really talented. But in the end, I kind of question a lot of decisions. A lot of it is really disappointing direction, where there was opportunity to have a very creepy scene. There was the one in the school where you see the demonic priest sort of in the background, where it had that very long dolly shot, but unnecessarily so cuts to a shot outside the school when they exit the doors and everything, even though it could have been a single one-take tracking shot to then have the priest, the demonic priest, at the bottom of the staircase. That shit could have been terrifying because it's like the stalking, the moving around and everything. But it's also the fact that this entire movie acts like a haunted house movie, where it's just a series of events with jump scare after jump scare after jump scare, while not incredibly boring and not the lamest jump scares I've ever seen, with some really good tension thrown into some sequences. It's just a movie that isn't really particularly memorable and kind of just exit your brain after a while. You can sit down, you can watch it, you can turn your brain off, but whenever I've attempted to rewatch this movie, I've kind of forgotten about it immediately anyway. Coming in at number 4 is going to be The Curse of La Llorona. This is a movie that I think is very, very underrated. I think that Michael Chaves is a brilliant director with some really good visual style here. He has a great eye for the camera. I think that the lore and the mystery behind La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, is absolutely incredible. It also reminded me of that first ever episode of Supernatural with La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, and I really love that aspect of this film. I think La Llorona is one of the most intriguing and fascinating sort of paranormal antagonists within the Conjuring universe so far. I think that a lot of stuff in this movie is really well done. For example, the tension, the suspense, the atmosphere is all really, really great. I think that Michael Chaves is really good at building tension. I did care about the family aspect, the lore and the world and the folklore. This fairy tale sort of thing around La Llorona was something I actually did not mind investing myself into. Yes, there are some scenes within the movie with unnecessary expository dialogue that really doesn't need to be in there, but at the same time, there was enough there for me to feel invested. There was enough there for me to really feel intrigued. I think the performances across the board are really, really damn good, and I do remember a large chunk of this movie. I do own the Blu-ray. I have rewatched this movie quite a few times. I remember seeing it in theaters around about 3 or 4 times. I really enjoyed this movie. Yes, it has some lackluster attempts at more or less jump scares that really aren't that scary, fake scares which are really fucking annoying. I do feel that the characters in this movie are still incredibly stupid, but at the same time, I really enjoyed this movie. I think that it's fun, I think it's tense, and I find it to be severely underrated. I know a lot of you might not agree with my opinion, but that's mine. That's mine. I personally actually really enjoy The Curse of La Llorona. Coming in at number 3 is going to be The Conjuring, released back in 2003, directed by James Wan. As you guys know, James Wan, one of my favorite filmmakers out there, especially within the horror territory, from Saw to Insidious to, you know, The Conjuring. I'm excited to see what he does with Malignant coming out later this year. I also think Dead Silence is very, very underrated. But what The Conjuring did was set the slate for some new films to come and kind of revitalize the horror genre, especially with the paranormal aspect. Paranormal Activity came out in 2009 with the paranormal sort of ghost, you know, demonic sort of stalking subgenre. It kind of went off the rails after the first movie, and none of them are really particularly good after that first film in 2009. But what James Wan did so brilliantly with The Conjuring back in 2013 was focused on suspense and tension. While the payoff scares in this movie aren't great, I do think that James Wan is a master at the craft of suspense horror. He does such an amazing job at building the tension, building the suspense, really going for it with some very dark, some very gritty sequences, focusing focusing on cinematography and sound design to really off-put the audience and to make you feel uncomfortable. Yes, the payoffs resort to really lame attempts at jump scares once again, but there is some still really creepy sequences in this movie, such as the scene with the clapping in the dark and everything. It is some terrifying fucking shit. My biggest issue with this movie is that the family dynamic is not felt. You really don't care about anyone in this movie besides the Warrens themselves. Yes, you kind of care about the mother of this family, but other than that, you really don't care about anyone. And it's really interesting to go back and watch this movie and see a younger Joey King and a younger Mackenzie Foy, who started off in Twilight, later on went to do The Nutcracker and the Four Realms and Black Beauty. She was great in this movie as a young actress. I also think the same with Joey King. She later went on to do Slender Man, Kissing Booth, and Wish Upon, but she was great in this movie. I think that these young actors, in particular the kids, while I don't care about the family aspect or them as characters, I do love all of their performances. For that, this movie is a very tense, suspenseful, brilliantly and masterfully directed film that has some pretty strong writing. I really enjoyed the first Conjuring film. Although I don't find it particularly scary, it is very tense, very creepy, very atmospheric, and it's a ton of fun. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Annabelle Creation. This is a movie I had no intention of seeing when it came out. I was not fucking excited at all. I thought this movie was going to be an absolute train wreck of a film, but in the end, it was one of the biggest surprises of 2017. Annabelle Creation is one of the scariest, creepiest prequel movies to a horror film I have ever seen, and one of the few that is actually better than the original. Annabelle Creation fixes everything that was wrong with the first Annabelle film, making it to be one of the best Conjuring Universe films. And it features Lulu Wilson, who only the year prior was in Ouija Origins of Evil, another film that was better than its predecessor and is a prequel film. I love Lulu Wilson in this movie. I think the young actors are absolutely fantastic. This movie is creepy, it's scary, so many moments in the dark that really set you on edge, that really make you uncomfortable, send chills up your spine, and make you feel constant dread. You care about the relationship between Lulu Wilson and her friend, who just so happens to be possessed by Annabelle by the end and everything. But it is a really creepy fucking film, and how the film ends is really unnerving, with a little Easter egg of the exact same toy model of the original Annabelle doll in the real-life Warren case. I think that's a really interesting tidbit I should throw out there for you guys. But I thought this movie was absolutely brilliant. It's scary, it's tense, masterfully directed, with great relationships between every single character that really make you, you know, feel like you're there. And I love Annabelle Creation, but at the same time, it's not my number 1. And coming in at number 1 is going to be The Conjuring 2. This movie is one of the first movies that truly unsettled me after I left the theater. This movie, to a lot of people, may not be regarded as the scariest movie of all time. I don't think it's the scariest movie of all time. But this is one of the few movies that truly unsettled me when I saw it. This is one of the few movies that truly affected me when I left that theater. This is one of the few movies where I would go home, turn the lights off in the middle of the night, go to sleep, and be wary of what was in my closet, underneath my bed, standing in the corner of my room, suffering from, I think it's called sleep paralysis or whatever, where you wake up in the middle of the night, you're not fully awake, you're still half dreaming, half awake, and you see shit in the corner of your room. Yeah, I would see that fucking nun. Valak is one of the creepiest fucking demonic possession villains in a film ever, I feel. Just the sheer look at her, the presence, the demonic entity with the glowing eyes, that portrait scene inside of the study within the Warren house is one of the scariest scenes in recent memory. Need I mention as well, the family is absolutely amazing. I care about the 2 boys, the 2 girls, as well as the mother, how they're really low on money and everything, going through a family tragedy in regards to the fact that they have a demon fucking going after them, with Bill Wilkins being like, "This is my house!" Well, that's gonna be on the internet forever. But it's also the fact that they actually bring in real life fucking stuff with like the Holy Trinity, the 3 knocks of the Holy Trinity and everything, where if you watch this movie in the middle of the night at like 2 o'clock in the morning and you search up the stuff that they are referencing and bringing up within the script and the dialogue, you will truly feel unsettled. I looked at what the 3 knocks of the Holy Trinity were after that Bill sort of sequence, and it was truly unnerving, truly unsettling, made me feel so fucking uncomfortable when I looked up what it was while I was watching this movie, pitch black, 2 o'clock in the morning. The Conjuring 2 has also very sweet moments such as the "Can't Help Falling in Love with You" sequence from the film. It is so beautiful, makes you care about the family dynamic even more. Therefore, when the climax happens, you really have so much anticipation, so much suspense built up with great creepy imagery spread and sprinkled throughout the entire film with some great fucking scares. James Wan did a great job creating a masterclass of demonic possession horror with The Conjuring 2. This is a brilliant film that I can watch any day of the week and never get bored of. But guys, that is my ranking of all 8 Conjuring Universe films. What is your ranking? Please comment down below, let me know. I know none of us will have the same ranking. A lot of you will really disagree with me, but please keep in mind, as I always say, that this is a subjective list, this is a subjective opinion. There is no such thing as a right list or a right opinion. Guys, I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. What is your list? What is your ranking? What movies do you love? What movies do you hate? Please comment down below. Let me know. Do be sure to also follow on the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Twitch to watch my live streams and keep up to date with the content coming to the channel. Do be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell to get notified when new videos are up every single week. Do be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.